If you are listening right now, this episode is for you.
Yes, especially if English feels difficult sometimes.
Don't worry, we've all been there.
Hello everyone, I'm James.
And I'm Amelia. Welcome to Learning English Studio.
Before we begin, please subscribe to our channel and like this podcast.
It really supports us and helps this show grow.
All right, Amelia, what's today's topic?
Let's get started. Today we're going to talk about something incredibly practical, how to talk about your job in English. This is such an important topic because work is such a big part of our lives, and being able to discuss it confidently in English can open up so many opportunities.
Absolutely, and I think what makes this topic so valuable is that most of our listeners either have a job now or will have one in the future. Being able to describe what you do, talk about your responsibilities, and discuss workplace situations is essential for professional communication.
That's so true. And it's not just about job interviews. It's about everyday conversations with colleagues, networking events, or even just chatting with friends about your day. Having the right vocabulary can make these interactions so much smoother and more confident.
Exactly. And today we're going to cover a wide range of workplace English, from basic job descriptions to discussing challenges and achievements. We want to give you practical language you can use right away in real work situations.
I love that approach. Let's start with the basics. How to answer the common question, what do you do? What are some simple ways to respond?
Good question. The simplest response is, I'm a job title. For example, I'm a teacher, I'm an engineer, or I'm a nurse. You can also add where you work. I work at company name, or I work for company type.
Those are perfect. And you can give a bit more detail by saying what your company does. I work for a tech company that develops mobile apps, or I work at a hospital that specializes in children's health.
Exactly. And you can also describe your industry. I'm in the education sector. I work in healthcare, or I'm in the marketing field.
Those are great. Let's practice with some examples. James, how would you answer the question, what do you do?
Sure. I would say, I'm a project manager at a software development company. We create custom software solutions for small businesses. I could also add, I've been in this role for about 3 years now.
That's a clear and informative answer. You used excellent vocabulary: project manager, software development company, create, custom software solutions, small businesses, role, and years.
Thanks. What about you, Amelia? How would you answer that question?
I would say, I'm a content specialist at a digital marketing agency. We help businesses improve their online presence through social media, blogs, and websites. I might also mention, I've been working in digital marketing for about 5 years.
That's a great description. You used excellent vocabulary. Content specialist, digital marketing agency, help, businesses, improve, online presence, social media, blogs, websites, working, and years.
Thank you. I think it's helpful to practice answering this basic question because it comes up so often in both professional and social situations.
Exactly. Let's move on to talking about job responsibilities. What are some useful phrases for describing what you do at work?
Good question. For job responsibilities, you can use phrases like, I'm responsible for, followed by your main duties. For example, I'm responsible for managing the company's social media accounts, or I'm responsible for teaching English to intermediate students.
Those are perfect, and you can use my main duties include, followed by a list of tasks. For example, my main duties include designing websites, meeting with clients, and testing new features.
Those are great, and you can use I spend most of my day to describe your typical activities. For example, I spend most of my day answering emails and attending meetings, or I spend most of my day helping customers with their questions.
Exactly. And you can use a typical day for me involves to give a picture of your routine. For example, a typical day for me involves checking emails in the morning, working on projects in the afternoon, and preparing reports at the end of the day.
Those are perfect. Let's practice with some examples. James, can you describe your job responsibilities using some of these phrases?
Sure. As a project manager, I'm responsible for planning and overseeing projects from start to finish. My main duties include creating project timelines, coordinating with different teams, and reporting progress to stakeholders. I spend most of my day communicating with team members, solving problems that come up, and making sure we stay on schedule. A typical day for me involves checking project status in the morning, attending team meetings, and updating project documentation.
That's such a detailed description. You used excellent phrases, responsible for, planning and overseeing, from start to finish. Main duties include creating, coordinating, reporting progress, stakeholders, spend most of my day, communicating, solving problems, making sure, stay on schedule. Typical day involves checking, attending, and updating.
Thanks. What about you, Amelia? Can you describe your job responsibilities?
Of course. As a content specialist, I'm responsible for creating and managing online content for our clients. My main duties include writing blog posts, managing social media accounts, and analyzing content performance. I spend most of my day researching topics, writing and editing content, and meeting with clients to discuss their needs. A typical day for me involves reviewing content analytics in the morning, creating new content in the afternoon, and planning content strategies for the following week.
That sounds like an interesting job. You used great phrases. Responsible for, creating and managing online content, clients. Main duties include writing, managing, analyzing content performance, spend most of my day researching, writing and editing, meeting with, discuss. Typical day involves reviewing, analytics, creating, and planning.
Thank you. I think it's helpful to practice describing job responsibilities because it helps us communicate clearly about what we do.
Exactly. Let's think about how to talk about likes and dislikes regarding our jobs. What are some useful phrases for that?
Good question. For likes, you can use I enjoy or I like, followed by specific aspects of your job. For example, I enjoy working with my colleagues, or I like the creative aspects of my job.
Those are perfect, and you can use what I love most about my job is to highlight your favorite part. For example, what I love most about my job is helping people solve their problems.
Those are great. For dislikes, you can use I find challenging instead of I don't like. It sounds more professional. For example, I find the paperwork challenging, or I find it challenging when deadlines are very tight.
Exactly. And you can use one aspect I struggle with is to talk about difficulties. For example, one aspect I struggle with is public speaking, or one aspect I struggle with is staying organized when I have many projects.
Those are perfect. Let's practice with some examples. James, can you tell us what you like and find challenging about your job?
Sure. What I love most about my job is seeing a project come together successfully. I enjoy the problem-solving aspect of my work, finding creative solutions to unexpected challenges. I also like working with different teams and learning about various parts of the business. One aspect I find challenging is when team members don't communicate well, as it can affect the project timeline. I also find it challenging to balance multiple projects with competing deadlines.
That's such a balanced perspective. You used excellent phrases. Love most about my job, seeing, come together successfully, enjoy, problem-solving aspect of my work, finding creative solutions, unexpected challenges. I also like working with different teams, learning about various parts of the business, find challenging, communicate well, affect project timeline, balance multiple projects, and competing deadlines.
Thanks. What about you, Amelia? What do you like and find challenging about your job?
Of course. What I love most about my job is the creative freedom I have. I get to experiment with different types of content and see what works best. I enjoy writing about topics I'm passionate about and helping businesses connect with their audience. I also like that every day is different. I'm always working on new projects with new challenges. One aspect I find challenging is keeping up with constantly changing social media algorithms. I also find it difficult sometimes when clients have very different ideas about what they want, and I need to find a middle ground.
That sounds like a dynamic role. You used excellent phrases. Love most about my job, creative freedom, get to experiment, different types of content, see what works best, enjoy writing, passionate about, helping, connect with, audience, like that every day is different, working on, new projects, new challenges, find challenging, keeping up with, constantly changing social media algorithms, difficult, clients, very different ideas, find a middle ground.
Thank you. I think it's helpful to be able to express both positive and negative aspects of our jobs in a professional way.
Exactly. Let's think about how to talk about skills and qualifications needed for a job. What are some useful phrases for that?
Good question. You can use "to do my job well, you need," followed by necessary skills. For example, to do my job well, you need good communication skills and attention to detail.
Those are perfect, and you can use "the most important skills for this role are" to highlight key abilities. For example, the most important skills for this role are problem solving and time management.
Those are great. And you can use "my job requires" to talk about necessary qualifications. For example, my job requires a degree in computer science and experience with programming languages.
Exactly, and you can use "I've developed skills in" to talk about abilities you've gained. For example, I've developed skills in data analysis in project management.
Those are perfect. Let's practice with some examples. James, can you tell us about the skills and qualifications needed for your job?
Sure. To do my job well, you need excellent organizational skills and the ability to multitask. The most important skills for this role are communication, leadership, and problem solving. My job requires a bachelor's degree in business or a related field, though many project managers also have specialized certifications. I've developed skills in risk management and team motivation through my experience. You also need to be comfortable with technology and various project management software.
That's such a comprehensive overview. You used excellent phrases: do my job well, need, excellent organizational skills, ability to multitask, most important skills, role, communication, leadership, problem solving, job requires, bachelor's degree, related field, project managers, specialized certifications, developed skills, risk management, team motivation, through my experience, comfortable with, technology, and project management software.
Thanks. What about you, Amelia? What skills and qualifications are needed for your job?
Of course. To do my job well, you need strong writing skills and creativity. The most important skills for this role are attention to detail, adaptability, and understanding of digital platforms. My job requires a degree in marketing, communications, or a related field, though experience can sometimes substitute for formal education. I've developed skills in search engine optimization and social media analytics through on-the-job training. You also need to stay current with digital trends and be willing to learn new tools and techniques constantly.
That sounds like a field that requires continuous learning. You used great phrases: do my job well, need, strong writing skills, creativity, most important skills, role, attention to detail, adaptability, understanding of digital platforms, job requires, degree, marketing, communications, related field, experience, substitute for, formal education, developed skills, search engine optimization, social media analytics, on-the-job training, stay current, digital trends, willing to learn, new tools and techniques.
Thank you. I think it's helpful to be able to talk about skills and qualifications, especially when you're looking for a new job or explaining your role to others.
Exactly. Let's think about how to talk about workplace relationships and culture. What are some useful phrases for that?
Good question. You can use "I work with a great team of" to describe your colleagues. For example, I work with a great team of creative professionals.
Those are perfect. And you can use the company culture is to describe the work environment. For example, the company culture is very collaborative and supportive.
Those are great. And you can use my boss is to describe your supervisor. For example, my boss is very understanding and flexible.
Exactly. And you can use we have regular to talk about workplace activities. For example, we have regular team meetings to discuss progress, or we have social events to build team spirit.
Those are perfect. Let's practice with some examples. James, can you tell us about your workplace relationships and culture?
Sure. I work with a great team of developers, designers, and quality assurance specialists. Everyone is very skilled and dedicated to their work. The company culture is quite collaborative. We often share ideas and help each other solve problems. My boss is very supportive and gives us autonomy in our work. We have regular stand-up meetings every morning to discuss our daily goals, and we have monthly team building activities. The overall atmosphere is professional but friendly, and people generally enjoy working here.
That sounds like a positive work environment. You used excellent phrases. Work with a great team, developers, designers, quality assurance specialists, skilled, dedicated, company culture, collaborative, share ideas, help each other solve problems, boss, supportive, gives us autonomy, regular stand-up meetings, every morning, discuss, daily goals, monthly team building activities, overall atmosphere, professional, friendly, and enjoy working.
Thanks. What about you, Amelia? Can you tell us about your workplace relationships and culture?
Of course. I work with a great team of content creators, social media specialists, and account managers. We have a very creative and energetic group. The company culture is innovative and encourages experimentation. We're always trying new approaches. My boss is very inspiring and gives us constructive feedback that helps us grow. We have weekly brainstorming sessions to generate new ideas, and we have quarterly training workshops to develop our skills. The overall atmosphere is dynamic and fast-paced, but there's a strong sense of camaraderie among the team.
That sounds like an exciting place to work. You used great phrases. Work with a great team, content creators, social media specialists, account managers, creative, energetic, company culture, innovative, encourages experimentation, trying new approaches, boss, inspiring, constructive feedback, helps us grow, weekly brainstorming sessions, generate new ideas, quarterly training workshops, develop our skills, overall atmosphere, dynamic, fast-paced, strong sense, camaraderie, and team.
Thank you. I think it's helpful to be able to describe workplace relationships and culture because it's such an important part of job satisfaction.
Exactly. Let's think about how to talk about career goals and development. What are some useful phrases for that?
Good question. You can use in the future, I hope to talk about your aspirations. For example, in the future.
That sounds like an exciting career direction. You used great phrases. In the future, hope to specialize, content strategy, focusing on, achieve marketing goals, working on developing, data analysis, SEO, better understand, content performs, long-term goal, become a content director, lead a team of content creators, develop comprehensive content strategies, interested in learning more about video content production, increasingly important, plan to take courses, marketing analytics, deepen my understanding, content impacts, and business results.
Thank you. I think it's helpful to be able to talk about career goals because it shows ambition and direction.
Exactly. Let's think about some common workplace situations and how to talk about them in English.
Good idea. For meetings, you could use phrases like, we have a team meeting every Monday morning, or I presented my ideas at the meeting yesterday.
Those are perfect. For projects, you could say, I'm working on a new project, or we just completed a major project last week.
Those are great. For challenges, you could use, we're facing some challenges with or I had to solve a difficult problem yesterday.
Exactly. For achievements, you could say, I'm proud of, or our team achieved, or I successfully completed.
Those are perfect. Let's practice with some examples. James, can you tell us about a recent workplace situation?
Sure. Last week, we had an important meeting with a client to discuss their new project requirements. I presented our proposed solution and answered their questions. There were some challenges with the timeline they wanted, but we negotiated a realistic schedule. I'm proud of how I handled their concerns and found a solution that worked for everyone. Our team is now starting the project, and I'm excited to see it develop.
That sounds like a successful client interaction. You used excellent phrases. Last week, important meeting, client, discuss, new project requirements, presented proposed solution, answered, questions, challenges, timeline, negotiated, realistic schedule, proud of, handled, concerns, found a solution, worked for everyone, team, starting the project, excited to see it and develop.
Thanks. What about you, Amelia? Can you tell us about a recent workplace situation?
Of course. Last month, I worked on a content campaign for a new product launch. We created blog posts, social media content, and email newsletters to promote the product. There were some challenges with coordinating the different elements of the campaign, but we developed a clear schedule and communication plan. I'm proud of the results we achieved. The campaign increased website traffic by 30% and generated many qualified leads. Our team received positive feedback from the client, and we're now planning the next phase of the campaign.
That sounds like a very successful campaign. You used great phrases. Last month, worked on, content campaign, new product launch, created, blog posts, social media content, email newsletters, promote, challenges, coordinating, different elements, developed, clear schedule, communication plan, proud of, results achieved, increased, website traffic, generated qualified leads, team, received positive feedback, client, planning the next phase, and campaign.
Thank you. I think it's helpful to practice talking about specific workplace situations because it makes our language more concrete and practical.
Exactly. Let's think about some common mistakes that learners make when talking about their jobs.
Good question. I think one common mistake is using the wrong prepositions with work-related words, like saying, I work in a software company instead of I work for a software company, or I'm responsible on instead of I'm responsible for.
That's such an important point. And another common mistake is using the wrong verb forms, like saying, I'm work as a teacher instead of I work as a teacher, or I enjoy to work with my team instead of I enjoy working with my team.
Oh, that's a big one. And another mistake is using vocabulary that's too general. Instead of just saying, I work with computers, it's better to be more specific, like, I develop software applications for mobile devices.
Exactly. And I think another common mistake is not using appropriate workplace language, being too casual in a formal environment or too formal in a more relaxed setting.
Those are perfect examples. And I think it's important to mention that it's okay to keep things simple when you're starting out. You don't need to use complex sentences or advanced vocabulary to communicate effectively about your job.
Absolutely. Language learning is a journey, and every step forward is progress. Even being able to say, I am a teacher, I teach students, I like my job, is a great achievement for a beginner.
That's so true. And as you become more confident, you can gradually add more detail and complexity to your descriptions. It's all about building on what you already know.
Exactly. Let's think about some practice activities our listeners could do to improve their ability to talk about their jobs.
Good idea. Well, they could practice describing their job using the phrases we've discussed today. They could start with basic descriptions and gradually add more details about responsibilities, likes and dislikes, skills, etc.
That's a great start. And they could prepare answers to common job-related questions like, what do you do? What do you like about your job? Or what are your career goals?
I love that idea. And they could role-play workplace situations like meetings, project discussions, or performance reviews with a language partner.
Exactly. And they could also write a short professional bio or update their resume or CV in English, which would help them practice describing their experience and skills.
Those are all fantastic suggestions. I think the key is to connect the language learning to your real work situation. The more relevant it is to your life, the easier it will be to remember and use.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every mistake is an opportunity to learn and improve. That's how we all learn, isn't it?
That's so true. I think it's helpful to remember that even native speakers sometimes struggle to find the right words to describe their jobs clearly and concisely.
Exactly. The goal is communication, not perfection. As long as people can understand what you do and how you feel about it, you're succeeding.
That's such an important perspective. Well, James, we've covered so much ground today, from basic job descriptions to career goals, from workplace relationships to common situations.
We really have, and I hope our listeners have found it helpful and inspiring. Remember, being able to talk about your job in English is such a practical skill.
Absolutely. And it's a great way to share your professional identity and connect with others in your field. Everyone has a job or is preparing for one, so it's a topic that connects us all.
Exactly. So keep practicing, keep learning, and don't be afraid to talk about your job in English.
That's perfect advice. Well, that's all we have time for today. Thank you for joining us on Learning English Studio.
Yes, thank you all for listening. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into talking about your job in English. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our podcast if you found it helpful.
We'll be back next week with another useful topic for English learners. Until then, keep practicing and find fulfillment in your work.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.